right, Ultimate Hoops Nation. I'm Aaron Wimsett. This is Sonny and Aaron. It's the good and bad and the ugly prediction segment. How you doing today?
Tired. Tired.
We're coming to you live from Minnesota Open playoffs, Elite Eight tonight. Your initial thoughts tonight?
I felt like we had a good win. Abe Froman came back on MMOG and came back, stole a win off a collapse. And right now, the 8th seed is pushing the limit right now. So, but is there? No, Femi's on the bench. I was going to say there's no Femi. That makes sense, but it's going to be it's going to be a close game, probably for about 25 minutes. Last 10 minutes, it'll be turned out into a 15-point game.
Well, let's get into the games. We'll start out with the 6:30 games. This could be one of the best, if not the best, game of the night. We have the Crusaders, first Miller time, 16-17 matchup. The Crusaders probably have the best team they've had ever, in my opinion. Miller time, kind of focused around Austin Brown. Your thoughts on this game?
First, I feel offended. I was a part of the Crusaders, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. Crusaders really don't have a guard to lock down Austin, but Miller time has no big to match, or they have Kurt, but he can't match with Twan. He's too one-dimensional, but but I still have to go with Miller time. They'll run. Crusaders are collapse. The chemistry's wearing down. You can see that they're frustrated with each other, even though they're winning games. It's just they can't click and get on the same page. So Miller time knows what they're doing. They're just gonna flow and try to get a rhythm for the playoffs, make a run.
I'll go the opposite. I'll go the Crusaders in this game. I think Abdi will be on fire, and Curtis is going to fall out early, trying to guard Twan, which is going to hurt Miller time. That's my reason.
I was going to say Abdi would have to have 30 for them to pull that out, but will he get enough shots or enough good shots to get 30?
We'll see.
That's the question.
He was draining threes at Fridley on Thursday.
But, there's good shots, and then there's tough shots that you make. And Fridley, he made a couple, and then he started taking tough shots, and he was making them. It's great. Same as Steph Curry. You'll look at him, and you were like, what the? Okay, he made it. Let it go.
Didn't he miss 3 out of 4 free throws at one point last night?
He might have.
I thought he did. Which probably never happened. Big Smash and Spurs. It's the other 6:30 game. Number 10 Big Smash. Number 23 Spurs. I think this one's pretty clear cut. Your thoughts on the game?
Well, they played tough. First time we played them, it was a close game throughout because they came out on fire. And we have the chemistry, but we don't have the defensive IQ to stay locked in. And if you got 4 shooters on the floor and all it takes is for 2 passes and somebody's open, it's tough. And, I feel like we had a team to hold on and pull it off. But I'll say it's a close game, at least through the first half, and then we can pull off. And otherwise, or we'll take off early, and then they'll get back in the game with some clutch threes.
Yeah, the Spurs, they have a good team. They have a good squad. Their problem all year's been defense and playing 2 quarters or 2 halves. We'll see. Chris Lehman can light it up. Chuck Harvey, if he's on from deep, can light it up.
Problem is same with Chris. If he's forcing stuff, it's tough to win. Because the ball comes up in his hands, and then he shoots. And if they don't get the rebound, nobody else is getting a shot.
You're taking Big Smash?
I'm taking Big Smash.
Me too. On to the 7:30 games. We got the Fridley Bulls versus the Red Devils.
It's not my fault Paris beat you.
Question number 1 on this game: will the Bulls show up with 5 players to start the game?
7:30 game.
In Bloomington, so.
Greg will be there already, so that's one. Do they have any other crossover players? When do the Blue Chips play?
Blue Chips play later.
So that means J Mike could be late. Gino will be down in the weight room.
We'll show up at 7:30.
It's gonna be tough. I say they have 3 with like 30 seconds left in the game before, and then everybody be looking around. Oh, is it a forfeit? The 4th will show up as the buzzer's going off, and the 5th will walk in when the jump ball is getting ready to get tossed. So it'll be interesting.
So your breakdown of the game, and then how do the Bulls win, and on the other side, how do the Red Devils win this game?
Bulls win with hustle. If they can get their defensive identity, they'll be fine because the Bulls get their offense off of defense. They're similar teams. They don't have the offensive firepower to just take off and score. They both score off of defense with a couple like Steve Kelsey that can get to the basket, Greg that can get to the basket. Then you got the Red Devils with Paul and John that's going to shoot. So it's going to be a balanced game. I would say it's close, no more than 5 points either way.
Who are you taking?
I'm going with the Red Devils.
Me too. Just because they, when playoffs come, they just seem to turn it on.
I got to go with Trey on his return.
There you go. Other 7:30 games, your Magic Johnsons versus Victoria's Secret. One of, if not the best game in Fridley this season. Little flashback. You guys were, you guys had 6 points in like the first 12 minutes of the first half. You guys come all the way back, are up by 3. There's like 3 seconds left on the clock. Victoria's Secret has the ball. You foul Mark Luer as he's taking a 3. He goes to the line, could have tied it up, and misses the first free throw. Your thoughts on this game?
Hopefully, Bloomington is a different story. Yeah, because that game we won the tip, and it turned into I got a 3 right away within the first 5 seconds. So we scored 4 points in the next 13 minutes, which was awful. And, I mean, we were getting shots, layups, everything. We couldn't buy a basket.
And Yoki was on fire.
Yeah. So
it was like 6 for 6.
So that's 2 things that I don't expect to happen or be able to repeat themselves. So I feel like it may be close to start, and then Magic Johnson's take off. I mean, I'm sure with Abdi playing earlier, either depending on how he plays, either he'll be frustrated and be ready to take off in the second game, or he'll try to carry something on from the first game.
Yeah, I'm taking the Magic Johnsons too. I think you'll come out and you'll shoot better in this game. Ethan's a beast, Abdi's a beast.
Yeah,
you guys got enough scoring power,
and we get fresh shockers, so that works for us.
On to the 8:30 games. We got number 13, Lights Out, against number 20, Blue Chips. Blue Chips were able to get a win this season. They won their last 2 games in Week 8. This should be an interesting game. Lights Out, sometimes they show up, look good. Other times they haven't this season. How does Lights Out win this game?
First they need Tony, and which I forgot my phone. Tony was supposed to have his decision to me tonight of who he's playing with.
He's the only player I think that got screwed by the system.
Yeah, and so if Lights Out can take Tony, that forces the Blue Chips to have Jake as their only shooter, which if he stays in most of the game, I mean, given he's going to be a problem on defense, who's he going to guard? With Lights Out being big. it'll be tough. But they have the 2 guards that can break them down. I would say this is going to swing wherever DeBoer goes. As odd as that may sound, it's going to swing that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting part, which way he goes. And then the other question is, can Lights Out, play a game where they're not, yelling at each other, or because the Blue Chips are a veteran team and Briggs will have some sort of game plan drawn up.
Get Twan angry. Son, probably let Twan talk to his team, get in his head, because all it takes is a spark from him to go through D'Angelo, and then him and D'Angelo are arguing. I mean, they have Todd. They have, Josh Hansen. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they have the cool heads. It's just that if those two get frustrated, you need D'Angelo to be in the game because he's your defensive stopper at the basket. And then you have Calvin pressing up on Arsenio, who's going to be, or J Mike even better, to where that's going to help. If you take that away and getting your two best defenders' heads and they're giving up baskets, that's going to hurt them.
Who are you taking?
Wherever DeBoer goes, I have to go with that. Like, if he's on lights out by 8. If he's with the Blue Chips by 15.
I will. I'll go Blue Chips to pull the upset in that one. Another interesting game at 8:30. Two friendly teams. The Supersonics will play UOENO.
Did they play in the season?
I think, yeah, and the Supersonics beat them, I believe. Supersonics were kind of a team this year that surprised everybody. They play fast. They don't have any real flashy players on the team, but they play well together. We'll see. UOENO is another team that, their first few seasons they got an upset in the playoffs. They have a good team. With them, I think they win if Mike Churchill shows up. If Mike Churchill doesn't show up, I'm taking the Supersonics. What are your thoughts?
I feel like it's a tough game for the Supersonics to win twice. Obviously, they probably didn't respect Corey the first time around, and probably was getting shots off. And then you got Josh and Trevor going at each other. It's going to be a tough game. Do they have Storm this year? Because I haven't. They have Storm Graham this year? I'll have to go with you and Nino.
Storm Graham and Mike Churchill and pick and rolls. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'll have to go with the quote unquote upset of the others. Was they 6-2 or 5-3? 5-3. 5-3. 5-3. Yeah, I'll go UNO by 7.
On to the 9:30 games. We have Fob 5 versus the Barracudas. Hopefully Nick Battaglia is better. He missed last week's games. Hopefully he's better and can play. But the Barracudas, after a few seasons where they looked like they were, up and coming and getting better, they just haven't looked good this season.
They win Minnesota Timberwolves of UH. Like, oh yeah, we're going to be great next season, and then crap the bed.
How do if the Cudas show up and play wonderfully? How do they win the game? What do they do?
Well, here's motivation for the Cudas. Fob 5 didn't care what time the game was, who showed up. didn't even want to roll out of bed for this game. So if there's any motivation that you could use, they just feel like they're going to steamroll you by 50. Now, given I think they played this past Thursday, so I mean let alone you probably want revenge. It's time to show up, play as a team, and catch them off guard. If you come out taking bad shots, you're going to lose. Give it.
That's my one main critique of the Barracudas is just the shot selection. They just don't. Fob 5 is the perfect example of a team that they should try to be like offensively. Fob 5 passes the ball around. For the most part, they take good shots. If somebody's got a match up, they'll give the ball where the advantage is. Both Casey Ehrenberg and Matt Johnson are very good players, but there's a lot of bad shots between the two of them, and so we'll see. How many players does 5-5 show up with?
How many are on their roster? 7?
8. Bricks.
8? Is this including juniors?
No, it's Bricks. They had Bricks.
Oh, okay. They show up with 6. Because Muskie's play? Muskie's no game.
There's no overlap.
So there's no Christensen that has to be there. There's no Casey that doesn't have to be there. So
Briggs will be there.
Briggs will be there. Bundy will be there. I'll say Christensen will be there just because he's loyal. Mike will be there because he plays earlier. Ant has to be there, so there's their 5. Who's mystery 6? Izzy? He might not even show up. Seem interested in the game.
The other 9:30 game, we have Menace versus Green Arrow. 2 friendly teams. I believe they played in the regular season, and I think Menace won. Green Arrow features Chris Maher. It's pretty much their game is Chris Maher plus 3-point shooters. They have 2 good 3-point shooters. Sam Rosebear and Jeremy, someone in Ling. He's new, but he can, if he gets it going, he's got a high arcing kind of J. Michael Ollie-ish shot, but it goes in. How does Green Arrow win this game?
Against Menace, he needs to hope that Caleb isn't there. I'm pretty sure that's his matchup. It would be easier for him to go at Emmanuel because if Emmanuel gets a couple fouls, he'll get frustrated. But it's definitely going to have to be inside out. Chris will have to be a decoy for a little bit, let the rest of the team get some scoring going, and then get the ball to Chris. If they go to him right away, might get tired a little bit too soon, and they can't work with that.
Who do you pick?
Menace. Menace by 10.
I'll take Menace by. I'll go by 15. Any final thoughts?
I don't like this back-to-back open playoff format, as in I would have 3 games tomorrow. But other than that, should be an interesting playing games for a change.
What were your thoughts on how the bracket was picked this year compared to last year?
I mean, it was better, so it wasn't like on the spot, like, oh, this is the matchup I want them to see, to where it was just you rank your team, and if it's your turn, that's the order you pick. I mean, that makes it a little bit more fair. So it's just not like, hey, I don't like Aaron, so I'm going to make both his teams play each other. And, I mean, it still messed up Tony, but that's one player out of many that could have been affected. So,
yeah, I mean, I think it worked out a lot better, too. I'm sure next season we'll have, some people who want to go back or some people who want to do it differently. We'll see. But we'll see you tonight in Bloomington South. Game start at 6:30.
I think for the bracket, maybe even just the committee takes the top teams that are going to have a bye, and then the top 4 pick the rest of the bracket. Just because I know a couple of the 5-3 teams, 6-2 teams are going to be upset that like, oh, I'm playing Tuesday just because they think they can beat me. Let the record show for something other than the top 4. That would be my only thing.
Well, I think there was confusion too on, halfway. Paul Ferber ranked his teams and sent a text to Casey, but I think the other teams too were kind of confused if they were ranking them based on who they wanted to play or ranking them based on record. So I think we got a mix of that too.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still some kinks to be worked out, but it's a nice system to where the committee doesn't have to be there until 1 o'clock in the morning, and it gets some random matchups without the heated argument of whose team is better and whose record is better in what league.
We already rank them.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you tonight.